And we're back. Part 2, Modern Threats of Terror.
Yes, where we're combining lessons of yesteryear with the modern state of terrorism as it stands. But before we get into that, we are only about 2 weeks away from our Battery Destroyers Club show, which is going to be, it's going to be a live show with a whole bunch of people that were with us when we blew up a whole bunch of batteries. We got some great videos, some great data. We've got, who are some of the companies that are with us?
Telops, they're a very high-end thermal imaging camera. We got Red Wave, FTIR, and FLIR brought some drones and all types of jazz. Blackline and Cell Block.
Yeah, so between the videos, the data, the live stream, the comments are going to be on. You can ask the questions. So if we have the answer, we'll give it to you. If we don't, we'll make sure somebody at some point does find us out. We're going to be streaming this live on both Facebook and YouTube, so everybody can interact.
Yep. And also, and this is, I'm kind of excited about this because this is like a real full show, is we're trying to bottle the lessons learned from the beginning of hazmat in the world to today. And so we are going for a long format live show. The next one is going to be recorded on January 3rd, 2024 at 1930 hours Eastern Standard Time. So write that on your calendar. We are going to be breaking that long form into podcast-sized videos and audios. It will be completely free for its life. And our first guest is Mike Callan. So come on and ask questions, grab a beer, sit down with us, and see what's happening in Mike's mind. He is one of the first. We have 26 people we contacted, so we are certainly not running out of. We started triaging them by age.
Yes. A few guys we got to too late. They didn't return our calls.
Yeah. So, but on happier notes, conferences, these are the ones we actually have signed paperwork for: Connecticut Fire Department Instructors Conference, WAMR, Northeast Hazmat, formerly Massachusetts, OMRA, which is Ontario. I'm looking forward to that one. Michigan Cold Zone and South Carolina and New York State. So a lot of stuff going on, but it's all good.
It is all good. All right, so we're getting back to the modern threats of terrorism. We had left off talking about secondary devices, and of course, secondary devices land within that world of explosives. But keep in mind that any form of WMD can be used as a secondary device. The most accessible and user-friendly amongst all of the WMDs is going to be your improvised bomb. Explosives are easy to make. They're easy to get your hands on. It doesn't take a whole lot to actually deploy these devices. They can do a significant amount of damage locally to an area. I can use a chemical I can use a bomb to disperse a chemical, a biological agent, a radiological agent. The components are easy, and I can get detailed instructions almost anywhere, especially at the no, never mind.
Especially at my notebook right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Well, so improvised devices, explosive devices, fall into basically two different categories. You have explosives, or you have incendiary, utilizing either a high or a low filler explosive material for explosions or causing fires. Now, projectiles and missiles, things that are just shot out, including aircrafts, can also trigger explosions and fires, particularly when targeting high-profile structures like buildings, monuments, or even special events.
Yeah, and there's this modern form of terrorism nowadays is not just about hurting people, but it's also just about portraying acts of violence. So, you see people protest and riot on the street. Sometimes they go too far, and they actually enter that world of terrorism that we're responding to. And some easy things and low cost, effective, simple things would be like bombs made from fireworks or fire bombs, Molotov cocktails. The devices can be large or small. They can be equipped with timed or remote triggering detonators. They can be activated through light switches, pressure switches, movements, radio transmissions, which kind of brings us back to our hazmat jihad days, where I would rig explosives up behind toilet bowls and have them go off by various methods.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Good times. Nobody was injured.
Nobody
during
was
those
injured.
sessions, but
A few people got scared, and a few people had to end their business quicker than they anticipated.
It was kind of like the Danny Glover scene in Loaded Weapon where he's upstairs in the toilet, and we'd have to come in and we'd pull him off the can. That was funny. Good times. Yeah. Yes, we actually did that stuff. So the potential for a single or multiple bombing incidents in one or more municipalities actually is a real concern, right? Because it doesn't take much to put, like most departments, most agencies could deal with one. But you put 2 or 3, that's going to throw the whole operation into a tailspin.
Yeah, and especially when we start talking about things like secondary devices, right? Because now we've put our blinders on. A device has gone off, and we really do, unless we're trained properly for it, we are putting our blinders on, and we are focused on the absolute task at hand that's in front of us, because we're trying to deal with the threat to the responders and the public at the same time. So diversionary events and other kinds of attacks, they can be specific to responders and work extraordinarily effectively. So what are some of the things in this field that has changed since 2000 when we really kind of started diving into terrorism events? Well, I would venture to say that drones would be a really good example of a delivery mechanism that has enabled somebody to not just leave a device somewhere where we hope we stumble across it, but can literally target us.
Yeah, that is a game changer. And we spoke about it in the last episode of using drones in a tactical sense to kind of use them to get your eyes up on that car or get your eyes up on that package without sending a person up there. But let's flip that around. Like Mike just said, what if I was doing something nefarious? I could buy a drone, a decent drone for like $1,500. Right? That's nothing compared. And I can send things into areas that are you're not expecting. Like it's coming in from the roof. It's dropping in. It's coming through a window. You know, so we've seen drones used extensively in the Ukraine conflict.
Yeah,
right?
If they're doing it overseas, they're going to be bringing it in here because, like, think about it, right? If I was a bad guy, why would I leave for chance that a rig is going to park in the same spot every time? Why not just wait for them to show up and then fly a drone, and then I can now surgically choose my target? Yeah. Where they're being attacked, how they're being attacked. That's why the next couple steps that we're going to talk about are so vitally important. What do we look for when we're looking for a possible drone attack? Are you going to be able to hear the buzz of a high-pitched drone over the sounds of the rigs? You have to. I mean, this is where we really need to start looking at, paying attention, keeping our eyes open, scene survey, the whole 9 yards.
That's a good point. Can you hear a drone? I know the drone I have, you can hear it.
Yeah, but you can
could you hear it over a rig?
Right. Could you? I don't think so. I think the rigs are so low frequency that it's going to drown out any high-pitched buzz.
That's a really good point.
Think about the times that we've been on scene, right? Drones have been part of our response for a while now. We get, larger past first alarms and a drone unit shows up to start taking video. They've got thermal imaging cameras. They were at so many of our events. How often did you go, oh, I hear the drone?
Yeah. That's interesting. I never really thought about that. I have to keep my head up now.
And it's crazy because go on YouTube. Go on YouTube and watch these people literally drop explosive devices into tanks from a drone. Like, that's how absolutely targeted they're able to get. So
that's incredible. But listen, don't be a creature of habit. That's kind of like a big lesson here is it's really easy for us as first responders to create a pattern. I always like to make the left out of quarters, or I always like to do this, or I like to go down this street because it's nice and wide. These patterns help us not have to think about things, and they allow our automated portion of our brain to kick in. And this gives us more brain power to be able to focus on the unknowns that are in front of us. But this can absolutely 100% backfire on us, because that means if somebody observes our pattern, then they're able to predict what we're going to do. And they can set up something like a secondary device, like Mike was saying, like a static secondary device. We're kind of talking more about planting the seed of like a dynamic secondary device.
Yeah, we could have multiple, right? This is the lessons that we've learned, and now we need to adapt for modern. So the static was the lessons that we understand. Adapting to modern is more the dynamic. And this was so heavily preached when I first got on that we actually had drivers when I first came into Hazmat 1 2004 that would refuse to take the same path 2 times in a row. So if there was multiple calls to Manhattan in the same area, they would take different bridges or different tunnels or different routes. And basically they were just like, well, they can't put something on the side of the road for me if they don't know what road to put it on the side of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a little extravagant, but
it did. But I mean, it made sense. I mean, they would also, in times that there was an issue in the tunnels or the bridges, they would call dispatch to see, okay, like, what direction do you want me approaching this bridge? Like, where do you want me coming from? Like, as an incident commander coming on scene, maybe there's an issue that I don't know about coming from the Bronx side. Maybe I need to go to the Queens side and come back up. So there was a lot of thought process went into the response, and not so much anymore.
It sounds like you need a lot of communication. Where the hell are we?
Well, let's see. We were just talking about being not being creatures of habit, right? So, like, if you could be flexible in your response was the direction that we were headed.
Yeah, so you need to be adaptable and flexible in your approach. Rigidity is not a good thing in our business. By changing your behavior to prioritize adaptability, responders then can be better to cope with dynamic and unpredictable nature of terrorist incidents or WMDs. Remember, they had the luxury of plotting this out. You have no time to deal with what they set up. So you came into this blinded.
Yeah, there's an expression over in Afghanistan. You have the watch, we have the time. Meaning, like, you do all of your operations based upon, all right, at 3:00 we're done. We'll just sit and wait for you. We've got all the time in the world to sit and wait. So, that a need to be flexible is 100% true. And with flexibility also comes situational awareness, right? Altering your behavior, heightened emphasis on situational awareness is absolutely 100% critical, right? We need to be observant. We need to be vigilant. We need to be looking for unusual signs or patterns that could indicate something, right? So I may not be able to hear the drone, but I may be seeing somebody set up with the drone situation as I'm responding in, right? So I know that there might be a drone out there. I might see something in the distance that, hey, like, I've seen a lot of drones fly overhead to take footage, but I've never seen one with a package dangling from it. So situational awareness is absolutely key. That training with situational awareness, it's going to lead us to quicker and more informed decision making.
It's that damn Amazon dropping off my my vitamins or something.
Bezos is going to be the death of us.
Like, you could wait until I'm out of this situation. Like, I could take it at my house. Whatever. Anyway, so specialized training and education. If we change our behavior and emphasize continuous training and education in counterterrorism, right? Because terrorism is one side. Counterterrorism is like the opposite side. That's where we kind of play on. And to WMD response, it's essential to do. It ensures that your first responders are well prepared and equipped with the latest knowledge and skills needed to handle the complex scenarios effectively.
You may not think of this next one as a big deal. If you're younger, you're not going to see it as a big deal. For us, we kind of look at this as like, holy crap, that's really cool. Everybody on scene can talk to everybody on scene. But collaboration and communication and the two coming together play a vital role in modern terror threats, because it allows all the groups of first responders from various agencies and disciplines to come together and work seamlessly during an incident. Changing the behavior to prioritize teamwork and open communication channels is going to facilitate coordination and effective response, which also might mean that you're veering off just a little bit from that NIMS style communication when we start getting multi-agencies together.
And with that, you're going to have preparedness and drills. You're going to start doing, whether it be tabletops, etc., or full-scale type operations. If you're doing that proactive approach and you're preparing through regular drills and simulations, then this is a key move. Changing your behavior to view preparedness activities not as just routine, but as critical to the readiness, ensures that responders will be well practiced and can execute their roles effectively under pressure and with collaborations, like Mike said, with other agencies. I know I've said this a couple of times. We did this drill with the police department, and I was getting geared up, and a guy comes up with a long gun, and I'm like, he's like right on top of me. I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, your job is to go fix that, and I keep you safe. And I didn't even understand that. I didn't even see that coming. I'm like, his job is to do that, so I can go do this.
That's the moment you realize that you're a cog in a much bigger machine.
Like all the training I did for 20 years, I always thought it was the sun was gonna rise and set on this operation. I was told this is how it's gonna be, and then the rubber's hitting the road, and I'm like, I was sold a bag of goods.
I'm not the most important person here. God damn it!
This is dumb. It was. I was like, wah. You know, like, oh, it was terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, that's when you want to be like, are you a good shot? Can I see your last training session? Like, do I get to choose who protects me?
Yeah, like,
yeah, right.
Can I? Yeah.
Like, I've seen you guys shoot before. I don't know if I want you protecting me. You don't get me the drug dealer in the corner. I know he's a good shot because
good.
we've been to like 50 of his his killings. I know that guy. I know that guy can shoot, man. I've been doing CPR a long time around here. I know his work.
Good.
Right, so we start to take a bunch of these little lessons and we put them together to give us better protection measures as well as personal safety. So we talk about the flexibility, we talk about the situational awareness, we talk about the communications, and we have to put that all together and be ready to pivot on a dime when it comes to PPE and our personal protection equipment. So, for example, I'm responding on scene, and all of a sudden people are telling me, hey, my radiation meters are going off, and this was a primary explosion that happened. I need to be ready to pivot immediately, put on the proper gear, make sure that I'm safe, and proceed forward without even blinking an eye. And that's the ultimate end goal to a lot of this, is to be able to take ourselves, change how we're viewing, change how we're acting, and move forward safely, seamlessly.
And you may think that this is our thing to do. You must plug in the community and public awareness, because without them being on your side and incentivizing the whole thing, you have to shift behavior towards active community engagement and public awareness, because you're going to get the most honey out of this puppy. So first responders can work to educate the public on recognizing and reporting suspicious activities. I will say, again, maybe it's because I'm in New York, but this saying was one of the best sayings, and it was plastered everywhere right after 9/11. It was the Port Authority Police Department, and they said, if you see something, say something. That campaign is everywhere now, and it's a great thing because that was public awareness, and you're using now 8 million eyes to help the police department. It is brilliant.
There was a phenomenal comedian who did a whole bit about see something, say something. And he's like, New Yorkers so don't give a shit about anything around them that they actually had to be told to give a shit. It was a brilliant take on see something, say something. It was just absolutely
please
great.
just
Right,
do
guys,
a little something for
yeah,
us.
you have to care a little bit. Like, and if you've ever been in New York, and if you're New Yorkers really don't care, you could have, an A-list celebrity walking next to you, and if they're impeding your personal space, you're like, dude, get the F off of me. Who the hell do you think you are? Like, it's 100% true. And ultimately, what we want to do with all of this is come up with an effective risk management scenario, right? We want to change our behavior. We want to emphasize that we have to always do that risk benefit analysis. We should be trained on threat analysis, trained on evolution of escalation of risk. We should have the ability to make informed decisions and have appropriate response measures instantly within our grasp. So we want to be able to do yes, no decision making right away. We want to be able to know what the risk and the reward is, and we want to be able to make effective decisions that are going to allow us, the first responder, to go home at night.
Now, more to come on more episodes on this, but before we go, we're just going to say thank you to a couple of our friends. If you're facing chemical spills, waste disposal, or environmental challenges, SMR Rapid Response offers expert solutions. Reach them in Virginia, Maryland, or North Carolina at 1-800-248-5816 or smrrapidresponse.net.
You may think, because we talk about our own training, that this world that we live in is very, like we compete against other training companies, and we don't. We're actually very good friends with most of the training companies that are on the job, and we have no problem saying when one training company has got an absolutely phenomenal product, and Industrial Emergency Council is one of them. They are a not-for-profit led by experts that provide diverse emergency response training for almost 40 years. They collaborate with fire departments, public agencies, militaries, and the private sector. So visit iectraining.org or call them at 650-508-9008.